Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Bolo Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Kartos Swamiti Namine. All together. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarine Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Bolo. Not too fast. Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana. Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Shri Govinda and by myself Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Bolo Bolo Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana, Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Jaya Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Kishigata, Vansivata, Dwadasatana. Jaha Shabalila Koilo Shri Nandananda Koilo Shri Nandananda Vrindavana Jaya Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Shidanda Jasoda Jaya, Jaya Gopagan. Soda Jaya, Jaya Gopagan Shridamari Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsagan Jaya Denu Vatsagan Jaya Radhe Krishna Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Aviranagari Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavana Maj Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhakta Dvijaraj Jaya Jaya Saka Bhajan Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Rama, Gata Jaya, Rohini Nandan. Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jan. Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jan. Vrindavana Krishna, Vrindavan. Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan. Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan. Bhakti Teja Hara Pailo Govinda Charan. Bhakti Teja Hara Pailo Govinda Charan. Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Shirasa Mandala Jaya, Jaya Radha Shyam. Mandala Jaya, Jaya Radha Shyam. Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram. Sarva Manoram. Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavan. Bolo Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Jaya Ujvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar. Sarva Rasa Sar. Parakiya Bhaveja Brajete Prachar. Brajete Prachar. Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavan. Bolo keep going. Shijanava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran. Pada Padma Koriya Smaran. Shijanava Pada Padma Koriya Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Nama Sankirtan Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Radhe Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Jaya Krishna Vrindavana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Bolo. Hey, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan, 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 Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Bolo, bolo. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Srila Prabhupada ki Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. So we'll read something from Bhagavad-Gita. The devotees want to pick up a Gita. There's a few there on the shelf.
That's cool.
Is there a better way to spend your evening than to come together with a group of saintly persons, friends, and read Bhagavad-Gita? Is there? So we can recite the Mangalacharna together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Prihe Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome. You came at a very auspicious time. Just when we're chanting Hare Krishna. Please come in and sit down. Everybody can come close, so we have some room in the back. I took a bath last week, so it's okay. Don't worry. Come close. Come close. Everybody should come and sit on my lap. Like that close. Come. Also you. Come close. Yeah. We have room in the back. Because, as we often say, Krishna Katha is not like a lecture in a university. It's not like a sermon in the church. But Krishna Katha is a kind of happening. Krishna Katha means Sangha. It means a Vaishnav Sangha. So there should be some atmosphere like that. So I wanted to read something from the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, and I'd like to do a little survey first of all. How many of you here have a favorite chapter in Bhagavad-Gita? Raise your hand. A particular chapter. You don't have a particular chapter you like the best? What about you? You haven't read Bhagavad-Gita yet? You should read Bhagavad-Gita. What about you? You don't know. You should read Bhagavad-Gita. He has a favorite chapter. It's Partha. You have a favorite chapter, Babuji? No favorite chapter. You? Huh? Second chapter. You? Huh? Okay. For those of you who have a favorite chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, how many of you is it the first chapter? Three. Chapter 3. Okay. No. Who likes the first chapter the best? Most devotees I know, a lot of devotees, they kind of skip over the first chapter, isn't it? It's kind of boring, a lot of names and blowing conch shells and this and that. And we think, what's the relevance for me? But for me, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I think it's my favorite chapter. It's such a nice chapter because it has some relevance for me. So I'd like to read some verses from this first chapter and a few purports with you. We're going to kind of explore this chapter and see if what I have to say is true or not. By the time we finish our discussion, see if all of you agree with me that this first chapter is actually an extremely important chapter, even though none of you said it's your favorite chapter. What's your favorite chapter? You don't have a favorite chapter. You should have. What about Partha? Second chapter. You agree with him. You're friends, huh? Okay, what's your favorite chapter? The third chapter. That's her favorite chapter also, so you're friends. And what about you? The 11th chapter. Oh, that's interesting. That's good. So I'd like to read something from the 21st verse, 21st and 22nd verse. You can follow along if you like. You can recite the verses with me. We won't do it responsibly because I'm going to read probably 8 or 10 verses. Arjuna Huvacha Senayorubayo Madhye Ratam Stapaya Me Chuta Yavaretan Niriksheham Yodu Kaman Avastitan Kairmaya Sahayodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudyame. So Arjuna, he said, "O Krishna, you're a Chuta, you're infallible. I want you to please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I can see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. The first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita is the foundation of the entire book. If you have a house, you may have a 20-story building, but if there's no foundation for it, then there's no building. And the foundation is important to support the rest of the building. It's also important because it's the foundation of the lowest level through which we enter. You may live in the penthouse suite in the Empire State Building in New York City, but still you have to enter in the ground floor, unless you have a helicopter, but you have to enter in the ground floor when you come in. So this Bhagavad Gita teaches us in an allegorical way about the battle of life that we all have to face if we want to become devotees. And Arjuna, he's faced in this battlefield. He's the supreme warrior. Arjuna represents all of us. My Gurumars used to say that this is the branch and the moon. Yeah, I wanted to say Arda also, but it's not Arda. It's, anyway, the logic of the branch and the moon. And that is that sometimes a child says, Mata, where is the moon? Mother says, it's right there. Where? I don't see it. And the mother says, do you see the tree? Yes, I see the tree. Do you see the branch on the tree coming out? Yes, I see the branch. There you go, follow along the branch. There at the end, you'll see the moon. So her purpose is to point to the moon, not to point to the branch. So in the same way, Krishna's purpose is to point to us, not to point to Arjuna. But he's using Arjuna in the same way that we point to the branch. So Arjuna here, first of all, he's telling Krishna, Senayor ubayor madhye. Hey, chalo. You drive the chariot. You know, I heard that traditionally in India, the chariots, the way the chariot drivers would get their commands, because it's during a battlefield, people are blowing conch shells and beating drums, and there's all kinds of screams and shouts and things. You can't just give verbal directions to the driver. So how do you communicate? Why is it such a big thing that Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna? Well, one reason is the way they give those instructions. You see, the warrior sits up a little bit higher, and he keeps his feet on the shoulders of the driver. And he pushes with one foot, go right, pushes with the other foot, go left, he pushes with both feet, stop, like this. And Krishna is doing it. This is how Arjuna is giving his instructions to Krishna. Senayorubayor madhye, ratam stapayame chuta, O Achyuta, take my chariot in between both armies because I want to see who's the enemy. Okay? This is a foundation. Sanjaya uvacha, eva mukto rishikesho gudakeshena bharata senayorubayor madhye stapayatva vatotamam. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharat, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Bhishma Drona Pramukhata Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samevetan Karunati. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Now the Kurus means both. Arjuna's asking Krishna, you tell me who's the enemy. Take me in between the armies because I want to see who's the enemy. That's the first thing. If you're going to have a battle, you should know who's the enemy. If we're going to struggle in life, we should know what is our goal. We should know what are the obstacles ahead of us so that we can watch out for them in our spiritual life. So Krishna brings Arjuna in between both armies and he waves at both of them. He said, here's the enemy, Arjuna. And he waves at both armies. Here's the enemy. Not just the Dronacharya, but also the Pandavas. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, he says, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha. That's why he's called what? He's called Partha. Partha ran away. Okay, I don't blame him. I would too. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking. And then I'm going to read text 26. Tatyapashyat stitan partha pitrin artha pitamahan acharyan matulan bratrin putran potran sakims tata swasaran suridaschaiva senayor ubayor api. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. And then I want to jump to text 28, where Arjuna speaks to Krishna. This is Arjuna's reaction after seeing all this. Arjuna uvacha jvisvemam svajanam krishnam yuyutsum samupastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Viputascha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandaivam samshate hastat tvakchaiva paridhayate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandaiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Text number 30. Na chasoknam avastatum brahmataiva chame mana nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. This is one of my favorite verses and purports in Bhagavad-Gita. Please listen to Prabhupada's purport and think if you have ever met anyone that this is relevant for. Okay? Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay in the battlefield. And he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvitiya binivesa tashat. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-37. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimitani, viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Do you ever think, why am I here? Why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. This is a very, very profound point. Goragraganya gana gotra goloruharam Goranga gudatama gopyada kopa briksham Gopala gada ratidam yati singha gora Govinda deshi kavaram satatam namami. So who is the enemy on this battle of Kurukshetra? The enemy is our bodily conception of life. Arjuna is such a powerful warrior. He's personally received weapons from Lord Shiva and from Indra. He's been to the heavenly planets. He's fought against the Gandharvas. He's a very, very powerful person. But Arjuna now, he's having a crisis. And what is the crisis? Why is he having his crisis? What does the verse here say? I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I can't stay in this battlefield. I can't continue with the fight. I can't continue with my service. I can't continue with my life. Why? I'm forgetting myself because I'm overwhelmed. My mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. That's all that I see. Why has Arjuna come in this position? Because Arjuna is feeling like, how can I fight against Dronacharya, my guru? How can I fight against Ashwatthama? Ashwatthama is like my brother, my dear friend, the son of my guru. How can I fight against Bhishmadev, my grandfather? How can I do that? What happens when a beloved person dies? We feel as though part of us is missing. Because we have upadhis, we have designations. When a baby is born from the womb of the mother, the baby comes out of the womb, and according to Vedic science, the child has no conception of itself. Its first conception of itself is called anamoya. I am hungry. That's who I am. I am hungry. There's no idea of gender. There's no idea of nationality. There's no idea of education or wealth or aristocracy or high birth. Nothing. Just I am hungry. And then after some time, some designations come. Because everyone's looking for some designation. We go to the department store to buy some clothes. But what are people really buying in the store? It's not just clothes. They're buying an identity. I'm going to get tight jeans. I'm going to get something that's really cute. It'll attract them in because I am beautiful. Or I'm going to get something made out of leather with spikes because I'm powerful. Or I'm going to get something which shows that I'm a very wealthy person, a very intelligent person. We're buying an identity when we go to the department store. Just like a person on Halloween dresses up in a costume and they seem like someone else. We have so many upadhis or designations. And we're always trying to understand who we are. We have a crisis of identity throughout our life. It begins from childhood. Who am I? The first thing we understand is anamoya. And then maybe we understand this person loves me. And then maybe we understand this is my mother. This is my father, my mother, my father, my house, my friend, my dog, my toys. And everything is giving some identity to myself. All of those identities are part of myself, all those persons. Just like a young girl, when she's born, she has this anamoy, she grows up a little bit, and then she's a daughter, and that's good. Happy to be a daughter. And then she likes to play. And I'm a playful person. And maybe I'm a sweet little girl. I can charm everybody. I smile in such a way that everybody becomes very happy when they see me. And then she grows up a little bit. You can all correct me. I don't know the age these days, but I think about 12 or 14 maybe. She becomes a goddess. And all the boys follow her around like dogs, like this. And they throw flowers at her feet, they offer obeisance, they offer chocolate and different things, and they worship her. And she becomes a goddess. And life's pretty good as a goddess. And she's thinking, yes, I am a beautiful girl. And then she's thinking, I'm a student, this is my teacher. And the identity of a student is dependent on the presence of the teacher. I'm a girlfriend, I have a boyfriend. And then later on, she becomes a wife. And her identity of being a wife is dependent on the husband. If there's no husband, how can she be a wife? And then she becomes a mother. And it's very beautiful. Her identity as a mother, again, is dependent on the presence of the baby. Now what if, Hare Krishna, what if the baby dies? Then the mother cries and cries, not just because that soul which has come in contact with her is gone, but because part of her identity is gone. Now, how can I be a mother? My identity of the mother is dependent on the presence of this child. Therefore, people say, psychiatrists say that of all the different people who will pass away in this world, that we'll lose in our lives, the greatest loss for a person is a mother, generally. That's who we identify with the most. I'm the son of my mother. And when the mother leaves and we have this identity crisis, this is what Arjuna is faced with. Because his identity is, I'm the grandson of Bhishma. I'm the student of Drona. I'm the best student of Drona. I'm the Drug, the friend of Ashwatthama. I'm dependent on all these different persons. But now he's facing the prospect that if I lose them, I'm going to lose part of myself. This first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita is titled by Baladeva Vijayabhushan. He's given the name Vishad Yoga. Do you know what Vishad means in Hindi? Sorrow, lamentation. Huh? It's based on two words. It's a compound word. Bish. And what does bish mean? Bish. Poison. Huh? Mahadev, Lord Shiva, he drank all that bish, and therefore he has a blue neck, because he drank all that poison. And ada in Sanskrit means to accept. So bishad, the two, bish and ad, the two different words, put together, it means bishad, means lamentation, means sorrow, means unhappiness. And the first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita is titled The Yoga of Lamentation. And what does the word yoga mean? Pretty much all the Hare Krishna devotees know that. It comes from the same bij dhatu as yug, which means to link with God. Yoga is a means by which we link with the Lord. So the first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita is all about how we connect with the Lord through lamentation. Is that relevant for anybody? That's very relevant for most people in this world. If we could have a kind of yoga that where I can actually make advancement by being unhappy, wow, I could make a lot of advancement, couldn't I? That'd be very, very good. This is Bishad Yoga. But what does Bishad Yoga mean? It means the yoga, connecting with God through unhappiness, and it also means the yoga connecting with God through accepting poison, through accepting something which seems really nasty. It means, as we were speaking last night, living in reality. In reality, no matter how unpleasant reality is, it's always preferable to illusion, no matter how cheerful the illusion might be. Huh? Nobody wants to live in Disney World for the rest of their life. It might be nice for a few hours or a day, but to live there? Could you imagine going to a movie? Everybody likes to go to a movie and you're sitting, but for the rest of your life, for the rest of eternity, you'll never leave the movie house? It's like something from a strange science fiction movie or something, right? We want to understand what is reality, but reality is not always pleasant. So this kind of yoga, we can connect with the Lord if we accept this poison, the poison of our position. This first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita also speaks about something very, very relevant for many people. Arjuna, he says, I don't see how any good can come from all this. I'm killing my own relatives. I don't want a kingdom or happiness or all these things. It's not going to give me any satisfaction. And then finally, Arjuna, he tells Krishna, Yadimam apitikaram asastram sastra panaya dhartarashtra rane hanyus tanme kshimataram bhavet. Better for me if they just kill me. I'm putting my weapons down. We have a modern colloquial phrase for that. We call it suicide by cop. I have a friend who did like that. Life was just becoming too much for him, and he couldn't deal with it. And one day he went to the Culver City in Los Angeles, the Culver City Police Department, and he came in, and he had his hand in his pocket, like he had something. And the police said, hey, take your hand out. And he started making some very aggressive actions, and the police shot and killed him. He didn't have a gun, but he wanted to kill himself. It's a kind of suicide. And this is what Arjuna wanted to do. Arjuna became so disturbed, he wanted to commit suicide, because for him it's the same thing. If I lose my identity, that's suicide. How can I live? I have no sense of who I am then. Better that I die. Better that I put my weapons down and they just kill me. And Sanjaya finishes the chapter, the 46th verse. He says, Evam ukvarjuna sanke, ato pashta upavishat, vishija sasaram chapam shoka samvignamanasa. Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, put his bow and arrows aside and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. This is such a relevant chapter. Suicide is the number 2 cause of death for teenagers in America today. It's not such a happy place. People are killing themselves because they can't understand who I am. People are becoming so very, very depressed. There are 3 different types of lamentation. One is out of self-pity. And we see this sometimes, especially when we come in contact where we hear about people who are abusers, who abuse other people. Maybe they beat women, they beat children, they're a thief, they're a dacoit, they hurt other people. A lot of times those kind of persons, they turn to intoxication. They become a drunkard because they can't face who they are. Or else they have some kind of mental illness where they just hide that part of themselves. They can't bear to look at themselves. And this is a kind of depression. A kind of depression due to self-pity. A kind of depression which is very, very detrimental in this world. But there's another kind of lamentation also. And that lamentation, my Guru Maharaj described as Atma Krandana, or the crying of the soul. And this is what Arjuna is doing. What is the difference between Arjuna's lamentation and the lamentation of some materialistic person in this world? And you listen to all the songs, I loved her, I gave her my heart, and she left me for my best friend, and now I'm crying, right? And all the movies and everything are like that. People are so very depressed. What's the difference? In one sense, it looks very much the same, but there's a big difference. The difference is how it was focused. One is focused on self-pity. I feel so sorry for myself. Better that I just die. Or at least I'll kill my brain in the form of taking intoxications so I don't have to live with myself. So I don't have to live with the pain that I can't bear. Self-pity is like that. But there's another type of lamentation which is indirectly indicated in the first verse of the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, where Sanjaya, he says, the Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Uvacha madhusudana. Now Madhusudan, Krishna, began to speak. And what did he speak? What evoked the response from Krishna? What brought it out of Krishna? Vishidantam idam vakyam. That vakyam, that speech, it came out, the Vishad, the lamentation of Arjuna. When Arjuna opened up his heart and was honest and was dealing with reality and came to Krishna as a broken person. Sometimes we come before Sadhu Guru and we think, yeah, Maharaj, we often say this, you'll be lucky if you accept me as a disciple. I'm very wealthy, I'm very educated, very handsome, I'm also very humble. You'll be very lucky if you get me as a disciple. And sometimes we think like that. But that's not the way to approach Guru. We approach Guru in a mood of nudity. Just like Krishna, he teaches us in the Vastraharana Leela in Braj. Krishna was a young little boy, and he stole the clothes of all the gopis. And the gopis, they said, this is not good. We're going to tell King Kamsa about you. We're going to tell Mother Yashoda, give us our clothes back right now. And Krishna said, no, I'm not going to do that. You have to come out of the water. And so the gopis finally came out of the water without any clothes. But their hair, their long hair, was covering the top part of their body, and their hands were covering the bottom part of their body. And Krishna then told him, he said, if you want your clothes, you have to hold your hands up in the air. And the gopis did that. Mundane people think it's some kind of erotic story, but it's not. There's a purport in it. The purport is that if we want to approach Sadhu Guru, if we want to come to Sadhu Guru, we have to come naked. Without all of our upadhis, all of our designations, all of our ideas, our fantasies of superiority due to high birth and education and wealth and good looks and this and this. But we come facing reality. I'm a broken person. I don't have anything good. I don't know who I am. And Sanatana Goswami came like this before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a prime minister for Nawab Hussain Shah, an extremely powerful person. He knew maybe a dozen different languages, was a great scholar, a very exalted person from a very high birth, very high Brahminical birth, very wealthy, very handsome, beautiful. He had everything. But when he came before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Kayami, I don't know who I am. Please tell me who I am. Because I've got this whole list of upadhis. I've got this whole bunch of designations that I purchased in the department store. But it's not really me. Who am I? You know who I am. Please teach me about this. In the, play Madanga, in the Prema Vivarta by Jagadananda Pandit, he describes the journey of the soul in this world. I'll sing this Bengali phrase, and you can chant Hare Krishna in double time when we chant Hare Krishna. Krishna bahir mukahana bhoga vancha kore nikatasta maya tare japatiya dhare. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna bahir mukaham bhoga vancha kore. When the conditioned soul turns its face away from Krishna. We came in this world, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, praying to the Lord that this time, this birth will be different. I want to be your devotee. I want to remember you. But then, in the pain of childbirth, such a traumatic experience, we forget that. And then the living entity comes out and becomes Krishna Bahirmukh, turning his face away from Krishna. Bhogavamsha Kori, just wanting to try to enjoy for himself. At that time, Nikatasta Maya Tare Japatiya Dari. Maya takes that living entity. Pisachi paile jena mati chena hoy. Maya grasta jivera hoy se bhava udoy. Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Pisachi paile, then in the hands of that witch Maya, he becomes bewildered. Maya grasta jiva, that living entity who's a pure living entity. Now he's under the control of illusion of Maya Devi. He becomes bewildered. And he starts acting like someone who's pisachi paile, captured by a witch. And the witch of Maya. Ami Siddha Krishna Das Ekata Bhule Mayarana Farahana Chira Dina Bule Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ami Siddha Krishna Das Ekata Bhule. I forget that I'm Krishna's servant. Mayarana Fara. And I become Maya's slave. Hana Chidadina Bhule. While I'm changing from one body to another. And this is the movie called Life. And listen to this movie, what it's like. Now, the word kabu in Bengali means sometimes. Kabu Raja, Kabu Praja, Kabu Vipra Shudra, Kabu duki, kabu suki, kabu kita kshudra. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Sometimes life is good and I become the temple president. Or I become the president of the United States of America. Kabu Raja, yes. And another time, Kabu Praja. I become a citizen. Not so good generally. Kabu Vipra, sometimes I'm a Brahmin. Kabu Sudra, sometimes I'm a low-class Sudra digging ditches or something. Kabu Duki, sometimes I'm very unhappy. Kabu Suki, sometimes happy. Kabu Kita Shudra, sometimes I become a worm and stool, a little insect. Kabu Swage, Kabu Marche, Nara Keva, Kabu, Kabu Deva, Kabu Daicha, Kabu Dasa Prabhu, Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Kabu Swage, sometimes I go to heaven, also known as Manhattan in some places. Kabu Marche, sometimes I have to come down to earth. Kabu Narake, sometimes I go to hell. What is hell? Maybe that's Brooklyn or no?
Far off away.
Okay. Kabu Deva, sometimes I become a demigod. Life's very good. Kabu Daicha, sometimes I'm a demon. Kabu Das, sometimes a servant. Kabu Prabhu, sometimes I'm a master. Erupe sansara brahmite konajan sadhu sange nija tattva avagatahan. Bolo! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Erupe sansara brahmite means on his journey, this adventure of life which never ends, and going from one birth to another birth, and having so many conceptions of who I am, taking so many births, if out of good fortune, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev, you become Bhagyavan Jeev, very Bhagyavan, very good fortune. In Sadhu Sangha, you come in contact with a saintly person. And what do you hear from that saintly person? Nija Tattva. You hear who you are, who you really are. You're not really a little girl. You're not really a businessman. You're not a handsome fellow, a beautiful girl. You're not this or that, or all these different designations. You're a soul. Nija Tattva Avagatahan. And then he understands, I'm a servant of Krishna. Nija Tattva Jani A Sansarana Chai Kena Vaba Jinu Maya Kore Hoi Hoi Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Nija Tattva Janiyar. Understanding this, then Sansara Nachai. I don't want this material world anymore. The most important thing in my life is no longer, I have to find a husband. I have to find a wife. Well, okay, it didn't work last time. Actually, it didn't work the last 3 wives, but this one may be different. We have this hope. We have this hope, even though we've suffered so much from all of our relationships. The things that we're putting the most hope in are going to give me happiness and pleasure in this world, become the greatest source of pain and suffering. And this is the nature of upadhis. Why do we love that person? Because you have a connection with me. And this is one reason why children many times feel frustrated, because they don't really have much of an identity themselves. I'm just dad's little boy. And I have to do whatever he says. And that's why sometimes little kids, they like to break toys, because then they can exercise control over something. Everyone else is controlling them. Right? That's the upadhi. You're my son, And I love you as long as you're my son. I have a friend who was born in New Jersey. Their father was from Egypt. And that man his brother was a high-ranking general in the Egyptian army. Very high-class, Kshatriya kind of family. He came to America. He got 2 PhDs, I think one from Harvard and one from Yale. Very impressive thing. And he started doing business. He became a multimillionaire, married a beautiful girl. Life's good. And his wife became pregnant. He was very happy. He decided, my son is going to one day become the President of the United States of America. This is a true story. And then he was a little disappointed when the tests came back and they found out it was going to be a girl. Okay. He was a little disappointed, but he thought, anyway, my daughter will be the first lady president of the United States of America. He thought like that. And when that little girl was born, he gave her so much love. He gave her everything that money could buy. All the most expensive toys in a private school. And as she got older, he put her in the university. And he gave her own car at the age of 16 or something. And one day she came home from school and she said, Dad, I met these people in school and then they gave me a book. It's called Bhagavad-Gita. Huh? And then she started reading the book. And then the next thing she came to her father, she said, Dad, I want to become a Hare Krishna devotee. And then what did that loving father who had doted on his little girl her whole life say? I hate you. You're not my child anymore. I reject you. This is a result of upadhis. Because upadhis implicitly mean violence. I love you as long as you're my wife. And that means you're going to be dutiful, you're going to do whatever I have, whatever I say, you're going to wash the dishes every day, you're going to clean the house, you're going to do this and this and this. And if you dare to argue with me, then violence will come. Because I have this upadhi that I've given you. And you're acting against the upadhi, against the designation that I've given you. And we see this is a source of violence in this world. This is a so-called love in this world. It's based on upadhis. So when someone actually understands nija tattva, jani ar, samsara nachai, they don't care for these upadhis anymore. Maybe I'm a married person. I have children. As we were speaking last night, I have to take care of my responsibilities. Antarnishya bahya vyavahar. We mentioned this last night. That on the inside, I'm detached. But on the outside, I look very attached. Otherwise, problems will come. You have to take care of your responsibilities. But on the inside, you be detached from all that. This is an illusion. And they're all going to be taken away from me sooner or later. I'm not this body. This is not my wife or my husband or my children. This is an illusion. But I'm going along with it. And even, as we often say, the husband's duty is to say 2 things to his wife. Prabhuji, you should do this. If you want to have a good grihastha ashram. As part of your service as a grihastha, as a Hare Krishna devotee, you should say 2 things to her every day. Number 1, I love you. Number 2, you're beautiful. It's very important. And ladies, am I wrong? Any lady going to say that I'm wrong about that? See, the thing is, if you don't say that on a regular basis, someone else might. And then you're going to have problems, right? So this is part of the support for your ashram. It's an external thing. I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. I never say I love you or you're beautiful. How can I say like that? No, this is part of your service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that to Raghunath Das Goswami. Antarnishta bahya vyavahar. On the inside, you're detached, not on the outside. On the outside, you act like a very, very attached person. And then life can go peacefully, and you have your responsibilities, and you fulfill them. But we should not be attached. Nija tattva janiyar samsara nachai. We understand this samsara, this material universe, this is not me. And then he begins to lament. Kainava bhajino maya, kore hoi hoi. For so long I've been serving Maya. I've been serving Maya in so many different ways, trying to satisfy every little desire that my mind comes up with. But my mind has never been satisfied. I've always wanted more and more and more. I've been serving Maya. I've not been serving Krishna. I've not been thinking of Krishna. And at that time, his spiritual life begins. Kende bole oh hey Krishna, Amitava Das, Tomara Charana Chari Hoila Sarvanas. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare.
What is the real beginning of your spiritual life? And you can say it was when someone gave me a book. But so many people got books and they didn't read the book. And many people read the book, but still they didn't practice. Many people started practicing, but they gave up the practice. So how can you say that's really the beginning of their spiritual life? In one sense, it leads to it. But the real beginning of our spiritual life is when we begin to do this Atma Krandana, this crying of the soul. Who am I? Why am I here? Kende boli, oh hey Krishna, Amitava Das. Oh Krishna, Krishna, I am your servant. Tomara Charana Chari Hoila Sarvanas. I gave up your lotus feet. Now Hoila Sarvanas. Everything has become destroyed because of my stupidity. This is a real beginning of spiritual life. Not just that I'm vegetarian, or not even just that I'm chanting 16 rounds, or not even that I get initiated. But when I begin to cry in the heart, this is a real beginning of our spiritual life. And this is how we really find Guru. When we cry and cry in the heart. Oh Krishna, I can't recognize Sadhu. I don't know who he is. You please help me. And this is what happened with Arjun. Arjun cried and cried. I can't solve my problem. And what happened? He found Guru. Vishidanta midam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. And the second chapter of the Gita says this is the beginning of Bhagavad-Gita. When Arjun came like that, he came naked before the Lord. I have problems. I have big problems. And began to cry and cry. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, a similar thing is described. Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dana. Bhakti Krishna Nama Smarana Krandana. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everyone wants to get some money, some wealth. We want wealth in the form of good looks. We want wealth in the form of lots of friends and fame. We want wealth in the form of a big, beautiful house or lots of money. But what is real wealth? Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dana. Hey! He says 3 times. Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti. Connection with the Lord through Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga 3 times. That's the real Dana. That's the real wealth. Okay. All right, leave me alone. What is Bhakti then? Bhakti A Krishna Nama. Bhakti is Krishna's name, but Smarana Krandana. Chanting Krishna's name and remembering Krishna and crying and crying. This is the purpose of this movement. To collect people who are crying for the Lord, who want to know what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Not just that we want to create so many temples and distribute so many books and create so many followers just to have numbers, but we want to change people's lives. Srila Prabhupada gave one lecture and he said that we don't want your money. I like that. He said, we don't want your money. We don't care if you become a member. He said, all that we want is to see that you become happy. That's the purpose of this movement. That's the real purpose. But because some people, they say, yeah, that sounds okay, but that's too abstract. Be happy. I'm happy already. Life's good. Right? They have so many, they can't face reality, that they're suffering. So then we say, that's okay, very good. You can become a life member. And you give some money, you take some books, you do this and that, and that's good. But the real thing this movement is about is not just the externals. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter I often like to speak about in 1968 to the then Governor General of Canada. And he described ISKCON. He said ISKCON is a non-lucrative movement. It's a non-sectarian society, and our members include people from Hindu, Muslim, and Christian backgrounds. And he says they can keep their respective religions and still be a member of ISKCON. Our purpose isn't to establish Hindu Dharma, or Hare Krishna Dharma, or this Dharma, or that, but it's to establish the Dharma of the soul, Jaiva Dharma. To understand who I am, why I'm here, what is the purpose of life. And for this first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita is such a wonderful chapter. We should understand that this lamentation can actually help us in our spiritual life, but it only helps if bichotte, we embrace it, we accept it. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, he says that dukkha trasa parada dyar anorjitam tadinata. If you want to develop dinata, or humility, how do you become humble? He says there's three things which help us. Dukkha trasa aparadadyar. The first is the sense of unhappiness. When I'm happy and everything's going my way, I have a beautiful girlfriend who loves me, I have nice food, I'm very wealthy, I have a nice car, a nice job, everybody gives me respect, then I may become very proud. But when my girlfriend runs away with some other man, when my boss fires me from my job, when people hate me, that's dukkha. And that dukkha helps me. Then I become a little humble. And when I become a little humble, then I can call out to the Lord. Without being humble, how is it possible to call out to the Lord? So the first thing which gives humility is dukkha. The second is tras. Tras means out of fear. I'm afraid. Oh, I've done some bad things. I've hurt a lot of people. That's also facing reality. I broke this guy's heart. I did this thing. I beat my girlfriend. I've been a bad person. And now I'm afraid. I know I'm going to get some karmic reaction for that. That's tras. And the third is aparadadyar, which means the sense of having committed an offense. I'm an offender. I'm an offender. I've done so many bad things. When we begin to feel like that, then we make some connection with the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami, he speaks about this in Paramatma Sandarbha. He speaks about how people endeavor for happiness in two ways. The first way you try for happiness is for your own pleasure. And the second type of happiness is much superior, and that's a person who endeavors to make other people happy. And that kind of happiness is a much superior type of happiness. And then Jiva Goswami, he says that happiness, real happiness comes, yat tu bhaktanam sukham. It comes from bhakti. When I can go to the temple and be in the kirtan with Niranjan Maharaj, life is good. When I can hear Krishna Katha from Radhanath Maharaj, I can be with saintly devotees, I can do some wonderful service in the Harinam or something. Yat tu bhaktanam sukham, that gives us happiness. Tatasya bhakti rupameva. Tatatesham dukkam cha. And then what is the source of lamentation? Bhagavat prapt antarayanaiva bhavati. The source of anxiety and unhappiness comes when I can't do that bhakti. I can't chant my rounds because I'm sick, or maybe I'm becoming a little crazy, or I'm so disturbed. I can't go and meet Guru Maharaj. I can't do my service. I can't be with the devotees. That's the greatest type of unhappiness. But something happens. When we are faced with these problems, vishad, the suffering, the lamentation, the problems in our life, but we don't give up. We don't give up our endeavor for bhakti. No matter how difficult it may be, We want to still get up in the morning. We still want to chant our rounds. We still want to follow 4 principles. We want to go to the temple. We want to try to help Srila Prabhupada's movement, in spite of all my problems. If someone goes on like that, even in spite of all their suffering and all their troubles, something happens. And Jiva Goswami describes that. He says, Tatra Bhagavat Eva Chitta Dhrata Jayate. When that happens, Krishna's heart melts. When Krishna sees he's suffering so bad, his life is so hard, but in spite of that, he's not giving up. He's not giving up on his devotional endeavors. Then something happens, and what is it that happens? Sa cha bhaktir evati. Krishna's heart melts, and when Krishna's heart melts, that becomes bhakti. That becomes our devotion. This is a yoga of lamentation. It's a very, very beautiful type of yoga. It's a very, very relevant type of yoga for all of us. We should contemplate on this first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. It's very, very powerful. So I'll stop there. Are there any reflections from anyone? Remember what a reflection means? A reflection is something that was said. I really liked that. I hope somebody liked something that was said today. It encourages me, lets me know, as we said last night, that not everybody was asleep. The second type of reflection is, yeah, you said this and it reminded me of something else. That's a reflection. Does anybody have any reflections? Please.
About crying, Guru comes if one really cries for that. But what does it mean, this crying? Because, how to say, I'm not spiritual yet. If I'm just starting spiritual life, and it's not spiritual crying. What is the essence of this crying?
There's different types of crying. And sometimes we cry a little bit, but then we stop crying. Just like there's a story we tell sometimes that there was one lady, she had 2 children. One was 7 years old, the other was a newborn baby, maybe 6 months old. And one day she's at home taking care of things, and her husband phoned her and said, "Sweetheart, I'm going to bring the boss to dinner. So you please cook a big feast for him." She's got 2 small children. A very, very difficult thing. So she goes to the kitchen, she's trying to cook, but the baby's crying. So she has to keep stopping what she's doing and go to the baby to console the baby and give her her breast and like that. So finally she realizes, this is not going to work. So she calls for the oldest child, 7-year-old, and she gives him some money. She says, go downstairs, and there's a shop there, go into the store, and you purchase, there's a red ball that has a bell inside of it. You buy that. Okay, Mom. So the child comes back with that red bell, right? The ball with the red bell in it, and then gives it to the mother. The mother gives it to the baby. And the baby, the baby stops crying because he's got a new toy. And then after a few minutes, the baby starts crying again. And then the mother comes again and she shakes the ball and the bell rings. And the baby, he's very charmed by the sound of the bell. And he stops crying. And this goes on for some time. Every time the baby starts crying, the mother comes and shakes the ball or does something with the ball, charms the baby. But then after some time, the baby takes the ball and throws the ball and starts screaming. And every mother knows that sound. It's a message that I don't want the ball, I want you. And then she knows, now I have to stop. The baby's not going to accept anything else except from me. So our crying is like that. Sometimes we cry some, and then we get a new toy. We get a new cell phone. And life's good. We have something we can play and see. It has a fingerprint thing on it. It's really cool. And I can play music on it and do so many things. It's a really good toy. But then after about 2 years, 3 years, it becomes garbage. And again, we get another toy. And then after some time, we get a boyfriend toy or a husband toy or a wife toy. And life is good for some time. But then again, we start crying again because we're still not satisfied. So we have to give up all the toys. So we cry for Guru. Sometimes we cry. Oh, Krishna, please help me. Please help me. I need someone. I need someone like you. I need someone like Srila Prabhupada, who's beyond Maya, who really knows what Krishna's desire is, who can help me. I need that. And we're crying for that. And maybe Krishna sends that. But then we have so many other toys. We forget about our crying because we have a wife toy and a husband toy and a child toy and a car toy and so many other toys. We forget again about that crying. And we may lose our intense connection with Guru. So how do we maintain that crying? Someone asked that question to my Guru Maharaj once, and he said it's just like if you go to a funeral. Maybe you're walking down the street and there's a funeral going on. You don't know the person who died, but just on an impulse you walk into the what do you call those places? A funeral home. You walk into the funeral home and everyone's crying. You start crying also. You feel sad because everyone else is crying. You don't know the person, but you started crying. That's because of association. If we associate with people who are crying for Krishna, then we'll cry for Krishna. But if we associate with people who just want some position and fame and good looks and money, they're crying for that, then we'll also be like that. We'll cry in that way. Okay? Anything else is there? Krishna Kun, you had some reflection or something?
I was thinking about how I really, Guru Maharaj should always say that Guru Maharaj cried and he got him Krishna. And everybody else who cried, they all got Krishna. And I really marked when you were speaking about the first verse of the second chapter, how Krishna's whole Bhagavad-Gita, the whole Bhagavad-Gita that Krishna spoke was an answer to Arjuna's crying, honestly, revealing where he's at and accepting where he's at. So I just admired that, and I wanted to say something actually, but
Okay.
I wrote it down, so I don't know.
That's good. Thank you. Anybody else? Any reflections? Questions?
Today, like, we have some discussion with one person. I have some discussion. In that discussion, I identified one person as a designation. Then I thought, like, so because in Prabhupada lecture, a lot of times he spoke about the designations, like we should not identify the people with the designations. We should not people also, like ourselves also. I want to ask the same question, like how to get rid of this identifying the people, like how to get ourselves.
Well, there's two considerations. There's an internal consideration and an external consideration. If you treat everybody the same, your life's going to be hell. If you treat your boss at work the same way you do a 5-year-old child, it's not going to work. we have to treat people in different ways. And even Srila Prabhupada, he would say sometimes, "You're young men." Prabhupada, what was her name? One of Prabhupada's first lady disciples who just passed away recently in San Francisco. She was 16 years old when she joined. And she wanted initiation from Prabhupada, wanted to be a devotee. And she asked Prabhupada for instructions. Prabhupada told her, "You stay in high school, but no boyfriends." Prabhupada told her like that. So Prabhupada's treating her, he's speaking to her not as a spirit soul, ultimately as a spirit soul, of course. But he's speaking to her in a particular way according to the particular body she has and the age of that body. And we have to do that in the external world. So two things are there, antanishtha bahya vyavahar. On the inside, we should concentrate, we should think, everyone's a spirit soul. This young little girl here, she may be a very, very old soul, a very exalted personality in the body of a little girl. But even though she may be a very exalted person, she's still someone's little daughter. And if she does something bad, then she has to be chastised and corrected. Jagannath Misha was told like that. Once he had a dream, and a great personality came to him in the dream and said, "You should not chastise your little boy Nimai. He's a supreme personality of Godhead." And Jagannath Misha in the dream said, "I don't care who he is. He may be Bhagavan, but he's still my little boy." And I have a responsibility to take care of him. So both things are there. We have to learn to balance these two things. Okay?
Thank you. Nice.
Anything else to say?
You just mentioned that Guru treats us according to what we are right now, our body, and I'm wondering...
Well, it depends on our mentality. See, if we're attached to this body, if he sees that we're not attached to this body, if he sees this little girl who's maybe 5 years old or something, but she's completely liberated from bodily consciousness, and is completely Krishna conscious, then Sadhguru is going to treat her in a different kind of way. He's not going to treat her like a little girl. But he treats us like those ways because that's the designation we have. So okay, then you have to act according to your designation.
But is it a part of our designation, this desire to have personal relationship with Guru? I mean, like, that he, you want to have this feeling that he personally guides you. Mm-hmm. But we have this, that Guru is representative of Krishna, so he is more impersonal, like Guru Tattva, you know?
Every living entity has an innate, intuitive, natural desire for personal relationships with others. And we're not satisfied with impersonal relationships. I can read a book. I can associate with Niranjan Maharaj just by listening to his lectures. But it's not the same thing as if I can sit down and talk with him and hear from him in person. It's more personal. We all have a desire for that. At the same time, our concept, our understanding of what a personal relationship is, that's clouded by our bodily conception. Until we're free from the bodily conception, then we may be seeing Gurudev with Bhogya Darshan, that Gurudev is something meant for my enjoyment in a subtle way or in a gross way. Gurudev is going to give me attention. Gurudev is going to praise me. I want this and that from Gurudev. We think like that. Okay?
But what is that real personal relationship as opposed to this?
The real personal relationship means ultimately that we realize our Swarup in the spiritual world, and we realize the Swarup of our Gurudev. That's the ultimate thing.
And there we have relationship?
Then there's a real relationship, which goes on in Nitya Leela, and it never ever stops. That's the real. My Guru Maharaj once said, unless you've realized the Swarup of your Guru, what he, she is in the spiritual world, you've just been cheated. Doesn't mean that you haven't gotten anything. Doesn't mean necessarily something terribly bad, but it means I haven't gotten the real thing. I've just gotten something secondary. And if I'm satisfied with that secondary thing, then I've cheated myself. I should hanker for that. I should want that higher thing. Okay? All right, can we do a little bhajan? There's a bhajan I'd like to sing with all of you. It's a very interesting raga. It has 8 different melodies, like for the 8 times of the day, in one raga, and this is called Bhupali. It's for this time of day. Bhu means the earth, and Pali, just like we have the word Palana. Palana means a protector or nourisher. So Bhupali is a lady who nourishes the earth. Bhu also means devotion. Bhupali, in that sense then, can mean Srimati Radharani, who's like a Pali, or a protector of the earth and the cows, but also the protector of devotion. And this time of day, Srimati Radharani is feeling a maximum amount of separation from Krishna because they've arranged for a meeting. But the meeting's not going to take place until about 11 o'clock at night, till very late. And now it's dark, and she's remembering Krishna and thinking about him and thinking about him. So what happens? All the devotees, all the gopis, Radharani Sakhis, they come around Radharani and they begin singing this Bhupali rag. 8 different things, meaning the 8 different pastimes of Krishna during the day, to help Srimati Radharani think of Krishna. So it's a very meditative rag. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki Go Premanandi Vancha Kalpadarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Oh, okay. Is that all right? She's live streaming on Facebook. It's part of life today. So there were a couple questions on Facebook. So what are the questions?
One of them is how to get the association of those who are crying for Krishna.
How do we get association with persons who are crying for Krishna? We have to increase our wealth. If you want to buy a Rolls-Royce car, right? Everybody like to buy a Rolls-Royce car?
Yes.
Two things are required. First of all, you have to have a desire for the car, right? But that's not enough. If you walk down to the Rolls-Royce dealership and say, I want a car, give me a car. They won't give it to you. You have to have money, right? So satsange prapite pumbi sukritai purva sanchitai. The Brihadaranyaka Purana says that we get sadhu sangha from some bhakti ummukhi sukriti, some devotional sukriti. When we are chanting and chanting, when we're very sincere in our practices. By that chanting, as Jagadananda Pandit describes in one song, sadhu sangha Krishna nam e matra chai. All that I want is sadhu sangha and Krishna, because these two things are in cause and effect. If you do sadhu sangha, what's going to happen? You're going to have to chant. Sadhu says chant Hare Krishna. How do you get sadhu sangha? By chanting Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, we get sadhu. And then when you get sadhu, what do you get? You get more chanting Hare Krishna. Huh? And what do you get from more chanting Hare Krishna? You get more sadhu sangha. What do you get from more sadhu sangha? You get deeper chanting of Hare Krishna. What do you get from deeper chanting of Hare Krishna? You get deeper sadhu sangha. And so the two are in cause and effect. Okay? What was the other question?
Is it the material attachments are not letting us to cry for Krishna because we are too busy with material toys? Is that the reason?
Yes, it's just like there's a person who's living next to a beautiful river, but he can't hear the sound of the river because of all the horns and the buses and cars and radios and everything like that. But at night, when all the buses and cars stop, all the traffic stops and all the radios are turned off, he can hear the beautiful sound of that river. So in a similar way, we can't hear the sound of our jiva, of our soul, of our self, because our radio of material desires is turned up too loud. Eat me, drink me, like the little girl in Alice in Wonderland. We have so many things that are distracting us. The volume is turned up so loud. So the volume needs to be turned down, and then we can hear the voice of our soul. We can begin to cry. Okay? Anything else is there from anyone? Okay, Prabhuji, I'm sorry. Please, do your thing.
Pretty late, 9:30. Okay. Introduce His Grace Madhavananda Prabhu. In reality, he doesn't need any introduction, but let me do that as a service for those who do not know about him. His Grace Madhavananda Prabhu joined ISKCON in 1982 in Los Angeles, California, a place where everybody would like to go, isn't it? Nice weather.
It's better than Boston.
But later, after 10 years, he found that his teacher, he should spend some time with his teacher, and then he went all the way to India, Puri. And that's where he started editing his lectures. And eventually he became director of ISKCON Gopalji Publications, one of the scholarly publications. This publication prints so many books on Vaishnava philosophy. If you want to see what the Prabhu's work, then you should try to get some books from Gopalji. Moreover, he's also done a lot of work related to Krishna Kathamrit's magazine, and also, these are here are the magazines. As I say, if you read the articles from this magazine, you will actually understand how much depth Prabhuji has in knowledge and how much hard work in understanding this entire Vaishnava philosophy. There is also a good part of it is that this Krishna Kathamrit magazine, also there is an electronic version of this called the Krishna Kathamrit Bindu, which comes every bi-weekly. That means on every Ekadashi.
It's not exactly the same as printed.
If anybody wants to have a nice consciousness on Ekadashi, wants to read something on Ekadashi, then this is a magazine which you should subscribe to. So please subscribe. It's a free one. You will get it. And as I said, if you read it, you'll understand how Prabhuji is one of the scholars in ISKCON, and especially on the Vaishnava philosophy. And we are greatly indebted to him for coming to Boston and especially giving us association in Renu Prabhu's house. Okay. So let's give a big round of applause from We'd also like to thank our Grace Krishna Kunda Mataji for assisting this entire live streaming and being with Prabhuji. Let's give a big round of applause. Last but not the least,
For bringing us.
last but not the least, we want to thank our Venu Prabhu, who's our host, and all the devotees who made this wonderful prasadam.
Haribo! And all the children.
Yes, and all the children also. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, without much ado, let's go for the best part of the program is prasadam. Okay?
We used to say, and now for the part of our philosophy that's the easiest to digest.
Okay.
If
Hare Krishna.
anybody would like to subscribe, please
Yes.
come and see me. You can give me your email address and then you can get the Krishna Times of Hindu email magazine. And we have only to show now. We have sold all that we had.
Oh no.
And that's only for show. And if anybody would like this, then you can come and give me your name and what book or magazine you want. You can look at our website also and then we can post them. You can collect it and just send one parcel and then it's easier for everybody.
Hare Krishna. You can meet both of them. They'll be here and if you have any questions, you can talk to us. Hare Krishna.
Can you pass it back to Krishna?